Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Sorry, I'm outside, so there is a background noise, but good to have you all. So we're gonna start in a couple of minutes. Just let the other fellows join. Khalid, do you know who's running?
Yes, I will be the moderator for today's meeting. We have two presentations. One is going to be presented by Sarah, systematic reviews, and the other is how to collect references, list them using Zotero, by Dr. Osama. I also want to discuss some points on ERAS application if fellows are interested.
Excellent, that's good. Yeah. So maybe a couple of minutes and then we can start.
Yes, okay.
So in the meantime, if anyone has some updates as far as the projects, please jump in and let us know. Thank you.
Dr. Nadir, there are some echoes in your voice. I don't know if it's your connections or something.
I will try to get inside, so the background noise will be hopefully slow. Thanks.
Well, we like the background, we like the back here. So awesome.
So just to update everyone, I sent a link to all of you by email. Hopefully you can access, it's a link for a file, a document file. And we want to keep track of all the projects, if possible, as far as who is involved in what project and who is leading the project and what happened to the project, what the plan and what the status of the project. And hopefully if there is dates, let's say presentation or due date, you can add that as well. Any comments you can add. So I will talk about that later in the meeting, but I want you to keep this in mind when we talk later. Thank you. Khalid, I think you can go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Nader. Maybe we can start with, we have two presentations for today, in addition to discussions about the residency application. Dr. Sara is going to present systematic reviews, and Dr. Osama is going to present how to collect references and list them in the manuscript using Zotero. So Sarah or Dr. Osama, whoever is ready, feel free to jump in.
It's okay. Hello, everyone. I can start my presentation on systematic reviews. So you can see my screen, everyone?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, you hear me well. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So I'm here today to present for you how to conduct a systematic review. It's going to be like, I'm going to go through the steps of conducting a systematic review. It's going to be quick because it's kind of a big wait, like it's long and very detailed how to do a systematic review. It's going to be like just going through it quickly and give you just like a quick idea of what is a systematic review and how you conduct it. So systematic, just a minute, yeah. So systematic reviews are the kind of studies that aim to provide an up-to-date summary of the state of research knowledge on an either intervention or diagnostic test or a prognostic factor or other healthcare topic. So methodology pioneered and developed by the Cochrane sets out a highly structured and transparent and reproducible methodology. Okay, we're going to talk about what's Cochrane later, but there is kind of a very specific way to develop or to do a systematic review that was mentioned by the Cochrane. It's a body that regulating the systematic reviews in general. Okay, so the key characteristics of systematic review are it needs to be a clearly stated, there should be a clearly stated set of objectives with an explicit reproducible methodology. Let us make sure that reproducible is a very important word here. So for the systematic review need to be reproducible. Like say, if you choose a topic and you're going to say, do a systematic review on the effectiveness of anti-epileptic medication. So you do your search, and you document that and you publish your study. The way you present your data is that if anyone else went on the database and searched for the same topic, the same way you have mentioned, it needs to be that they will get the same result, same number of studies, and that's like being reproducible is one of the key characteristics of a systematic review. A systematic search, other characteristic is a systematic search that attempt to identify all studies that would meet the eligibility criteria. It's very important that we do our best to our knowledge to try to search the databases to find all the studies that have the inclusion criteria that we have mentioned in our methodology, so we can find all the kind of evidence up to date when we are conducting our systematic review. Other characteristic is an assessment of the validity of the finding of the included studies. That's one of the most important components of a systematic review, that we do critical appraisal. We're going to talk about that later, where we assess the risk of bias in each study. Okay. The last key characteristic is the presentation sensitivities of the characteristics and finding of the included studies. Like there is a specific way how we present the data we get. Okay, so here is this pyramid. This pyramid, as we go up, that the level of evidence is stronger. We know that the most strong evidence is that what we get through a systematic review and meta-analysis, and that's where we kind of then get the clinical practice and guidelines. So most of the time, we get the information from a systematic review and meta-analysis to put the guidelines for the clinical practice. There is some types of systematic review according to the methodology we use. There is a scoping review, a rapid review, a narrative review, meta-analysis, and mixed methods. So I'll give you a quick idea of each type. Scoping review it's a type of a systematic review, but it's mainly assessment of the potential size and scope of the available research literature. It's kind of a type of a systematic review where like the question of the study is kind of more wide. It's not very specific like systematic review, and you kind of look into the database looking for the whole topic. There is no specific methodology that you should include all studies, or a specific methodology where you have to check the quality of the studies you include, rather than the systematic review where you have to try to find as much as most of the, if not all, the data, the evidence that published or available in the databases. For the rapid review, it's an assessment of what is already known about a policy or a practice by using systematic review methods to search and critically appraise existing research. In the rapid review, you kind of include systematic reviews, include clinical trials, you kind of assessing all the available data regardless of the methodology or methodology of each study. You kind of assess about a current policy or practice. For the narrative review, it's a synthesis that's primary studies and explore this through description rather than statistic. A narrative study is kind of for a systematic review and meta-analysis. You do a quantitative analysis, while in the narrative review, you do a qualitative, where you do not do a statistical analysis. Meta-analysis, it statistically combines the result of quantitative studies to provide a more precise effect on the results. There is a type where you mix two type, like you do narrative and meta-analysis at the same study, where you do some statistical analysis and then you do the data synthesis, like kind of qualitative study at the same study. So you kind of mix the methodology in the same study. Here, this table actually comparing between systematic review and a traditional narrative review. This is very important, as while we are deciding a review question, we have to decide the methodology, whether we're going to conduct a systematic review with meta-analysis, or we're going to conduct this study as a narrative review. Because deciding that from the start will make a big difference on the way that we are collecting the data, the way we are putting the hypothesis of this research. So on the review question, the systematic review should start with a clear question. Okay, while in a narrative review, you might also start with clear questions to be answered, but they are more often involve general discussion. It's just like you're discussing the whole evidence about a topic rather than discussing a specific information or guidelines or a medication or intervention or something like that. In the search as well, there is difference between systematic review and a narrative review. For systematic review, you strive to locate all relevant published and unpublished studies to limit the impact of the publication bias. While in the narrative review, we try to locate, we do not try to locate all the relevant literature. Okay, deciding which studies to include and exclude. For the systematic review, you involve explicit description of what type of studies are to be included to limit selection bias on the behalf of reviewer. While on the narrative review, you usually do not describe why certain studies are included and other excluded. You do not need to do all that. Again, in the systematic review, you do assess for study quality, you do critical appraisal. In the narrative review, you do not. And for the synthesis of the study results here, we use statistical in systematic review and meta-analysis. We use like a statistical methodology, like statistics, like meta-analysis. We do the meta-analysis, while on the narrative review, we do not differentiate between methodologically sound and unsound studies. In the systematic review, we base our conclusion on those studies who are like which are most methodologically sound according to the assessing of the study quality. Average time, it's very long to do a systematic review. It's shorter definitely to do a narrative review. Okay, so what's the process of conducting a systematic review? Here is kind of a flow chart where showing how you start. If you have a specific question in your mind, what's the next step is to do a scoping search. What's a scoping search? Is like you go and you search in Pubmed, say looking on the relation between like smoking and lung cancer. So I go to Pubmed and search like say, right, smoking and lung cancer. Okay, so looking into the literature, I might find that there is already systematic review done, a lot of them, and there is nothing new I can add. So I can then add maybe smoking, maybe vaping, maybe number of the years of smoking and the lung cancer. Maybe I go a specific type of lung cancer and so on. After I kind of put my research question, I finalize my final research question. I have to go. I will go through these steps with you step by step. So let us talk now generally about citation. It's one of the important part of doing a systematic review is you keep and manage your references. So citation management is essential in a systematic review, and there is a number of citation management tools like EndNote, Mendeley, and Zotero. They're all optional tools for managing citation. And there is a lecture today talking about how you use Zotero, I think. So it's very important, and it's in the all research area, all the types of research, we have to have like a basic knowledge of how using citation application or citation management tools. First, doing the research question. There is some criteria that have been proposed as encapsulating the issue that should be addressed when developing a research question. This criteria called FINER, F-I-N-E-R, that the research question should be feasible. Like you can say, I want to study something that it's not possible, like there is no evidence or in the database, or it's so difficult that you cannot afford, maybe whatever. The question needs to be interesting as well. It needs to be novel. And regarding this, there is a database called Prospero, where most of the published systematic reviews are already there in this website, in this database. So you probably, before you go ahead and go ahead with your systematic review, you go and check there that there is no just to avoid duplication. There is no previous systematic review that was done on the same topic. It needs to be ethical and it needs to be relevant, the research question. Let us say we have this systematic review, or like you want to conduct a systematic review on the effect of vitamin D treatment for the prevention of falls in older adults. Okay, you go and you search in Pubmed first. Let us first talk about the Cochrane Collaboration, and then we'll go back to this study. So for now, we have our research question. Let us talk about the Cochrane that I have I already talked about it earlier. The Cochrane it's the collaboration. It's a Cochrane, www.cochrane.org. It's an international non-profit and independent organization dedicated to help people making well-informed decisions about healthcare by preparing and maintaining and promoting the accessibility of systematic reviews. These reviews are published electronically in the Cochrane Library. which is available in the internet and CD-ROM. The Cochrane Collaboration was established in 1993, named after the British epidemiologist Archie Cochrane. So for each one who want to start a systematic review, the first website to go for is, as I mentioned earlier, Prospero, because you first find out that if there are any other systematic review was done previously, and then you go to Cochrane. There is a lot of educational videos. There is a handbook that is the main handbook for conducting systematic review, different type of systematic review, protocol of systematic review, and so on. So it's the main website. And there is a library where you can publish your systematic review on. Okay, so the second step after putting your research question and after you do a scoping search in the literature and you find out there is no previous systematic review on the same topic, you go ahead and you do your protocol. For each systematic review, there is supposed to be a protocol mentioning that your exact steps and methodology and result reporting before conducting the systematic review. Some actually, up to now, there is a still deficiency on doing the protocol in the published data. But if you're going to do it like as mentioned by the Cochrane, you need to do this protocol and you kind of publish it with the study, with the final manuscript. There is the Prisma 2020 statement. It includes reporting guides that reflect advances in method to identify, select, and appraise and synthesize studies. If you go and check online if you write Prisma protocol for systematic review, you will find a PDF folder. I will try maybe to show you how it looks. The Prisma, say, I think it's download. If you go and Google Prisma, you will get the checklist. It's a checklist where you have to kind of fill out all the steps of your systematic review, and it's numbered, like you kind of filling the gaps. The Prisma 2020 statement consists of 27-item checklist. It's an expanded checklist that details the reporting recommendation of each item, the Prisma 2020 abstract checklist, and revised flow diagrams for original and updated reviews. It's actually very helpful that you use the protocol. Like if you go step by step, actually the procedure will be easier and easier. It helps because it really helps the author to improve the reporting of the systematic review and meta-analysis. I would advise you, if you're interested to conduct a systematic review, I would advise you to go and check this. Then, after you put the protocol, then you start your literature search. Systematic reviews require a thorough, objective, and again, reproducible search of a range of sources to identify as many eligible studies as possible. Okay, the three databases that mostly known are the Central, Medline, and Embase. Those are the known ones. So just to remind you that the most straightforward systematic review methodology where you study clinical trials. This is most of the systematic reviews. You can do a systematic review of an observational study or a prognosis study, but this is going to be a little bit complicated. But the most straightforward methodology and meta-analysis is for clinical trials mainly. So the question, the research question most likely in our level, like it's better to be where there is an intervention and we are studying this, the efficiency of this intervention, or whether it's better than other intervention or not. So it's supposed to be a clinical trial. So search the trial registry as well. So there is clinicaltrial.gov and the WHO International Clinical Trial Registry platform. So those are the databases that mainly supposed to be searched. But let me just say that on a perfect setting, that this literature search need to be done with assistance of a specialized librarian. It's not something that very easy that everyone can do. A lot of systematic review are only done by just the researcher themselves, but in a perfect situation, it needs to be done with the help of a librarian. Okay, so let us go back to our previous study about vitamin D and prevention of falls. So when we are planning to search, we have to put a strategy. We know that there is a system for a research question, that PICO, the PICO criteria that need to be the population, intervention, comparison, and outcome, that each research question should contain all of this in the research question. In my research question, like the population is all adults, the intervention is vitamin D, the comparison is people who are taking vitamin D and people who are not taking vitamin D, and the outcome we are researching is the fall prevention. So if I am planning to search, say, in Pubmed, okay, so I'm gonna say vitamin D and falls and older people. And then I tried to do so, and my results were like, this was the result of the search, and I found like 7,257 published studies. Okay, I have to report this and kind of strictly document this number, and then I can go and say do advanced search and say I would like to add only, for example, clinical trials that were done in the last 10 years. Maybe I will get less of this number when I change this add more specification to my search. When we search in Pubmed, I have to go and make sure that, say, here in the database is Pubmed, and I have to document my mesh detail as well. So I have to keep this record. This is for Pubmed. For Medline, Embase, and other websites, they have different ways of searching. The most important area here is that we keep documentation of all what we find, keep documentation of the abstracted screening and all that. So these figures is actually comparing that. We have to kind of find the balance between between making our search very kind of wide or maybe very restricted. So if for here, if our search is so wide, the result like so sorry, if our search is very restricted, like say we kind of say, I said vitamin D, falls, elderly people, say above 85. If I mention that all in my search, I'm gonna miss a lot of data here. So I'm gonna only retrieve this here. But here's, for example, if I kind of widened my search, so I will kind of get most of the relevant articles. Here I'm going to miss a lot of relevant articles. So we have to balance between searching widely, which is going to cost us a lot of time and effort, and between searching like very restricted databases. So let us go to the next step, is the title and abstract screening. So after we put the research question, did our scoping search, put the protocol, and did our literature search. Like after I found this 7,000 abstract, so this is where we go to the next step, title and abstract screening. So carefully select inclusion and exclusion criteria of the studies to be included in the systematic review, where we say, like say, we're going to include all the randomized clinical trials that include adults above 18, non-pregnant, studies that was published in English, for example. So this is our inclusion. Our exclusion criteria, for example, that's going to be, we're not going to add the studies that was not randomized, or so on. Then we record the search result, screening process, and the reason for exclusion of studies, and the final number of the included studies. Finally, 2 reviewers at least should perform the literature search and abstract screening, just trying to avoid the bias. Next step in conducting a systematic review is assessing the risk of bias. Each studies of the included studies need to be fully critically appraised. It helps to establish the transparency of the evidence-sensitive result and finding. Risk of bias assessment is often performed for each included study in your review. Say you found out that there is 13 studies going to be included in your systematic review, you have to go and do full assessment of each study, of the risk of bias of each study. There are many tools online that you go and find in the Cochrane that's showing you a way that you can do a risk of bias assessment. This is a way that you present the risk of bias. Those are the included studies here, and here are the factors you are assessing. Say, the first thing you check that whether these studies were they were random sequence generation, like you check for selection bias, and then you tick whether you give it colors. Say if it's red, it's high risk of bias. If it's yellow, it's moderate. If it's green, that's mean that there is low risk of bias. And then you check the allocation concealment, the blinding of the participant, the blinding of the outcome, incomplete outcome data or not, attribution. You actually check for the types of bias, the reporting bias, attrition bias, deletion, detection bias, performance bias, and so on. I would actually also advise you to go and see, check systematic review and see how they conduct the risk of bias assessment. Next is the data extraction. So we have our studies, we checked which one is a high risk of bias and which one is a low risk of bias. At this time, we have to extract our data depending on our research question. Say our research question is checking the relation between vitamin D and risk of falls. We go to each trial and we check check the relative risk or odd ratio, depending on the way that which one was the reporting, which one was reported statistically by each clinical trial. So we go and use like an Excel sheet or Google spreadsheet or whatever to kind of summarize that each study, like this study was found out that the relative risk was 1.5, and then the next study was this way. We have also to document the demographic data, how many were females, how many were males, for how long the study, the average age, the number of all participants. All of that should be included in an Excel sheet to make it look better, the information. There is a specific application that's very specific for systematic review called RevMan. I would advise you as well to go and check that. It's a free software that used to manage Cochrane reviews, the systematic reviews. Like Hugo, it's just like, I will show you. This is how RevMan look. Like you go and add each study, like this is the name of the studies, okay? And for example, you add like for this study, the number of vaccinated was 3. Okay, this is looks like it's a study. The study title is comparison of like salmonella vaccine versus placebo. Okay, so this is study like this is the finding reported here, and this is the odd ratio. Okay, that's all the studies included. This application, actually, this software is able to find out the final result, report the meta-analysis for you this way. This is how it looks, the final result of the meta-analysis this way. Okay, so you kind of see how like the studies were kind of similar in the result or not. So this is what's like this is how they report the odd ratio of each study. Finally is the data synthesis. So if the studies you have included in your evidence synthesis are sufficiently homogeneous, then you use meta-analysis. So after you collect your studies, sometimes you find out that some studies, for example, reported relative risk, some studies reported other statistical way to present the data. In this case, it's hard to do a meta-analysis, because for doing a meta-analysis like this one, you need to be like, all the studies need to be reported as odd ratio, for example. If not, you cannot, like if they are all reported the same way, you can do meta-analysis. If the studies you have included in your evidence synthesis are not similar, like you have included different research design, like say if you're including an observational cohort and clinical trials, definitely the statistical method is not going to be homogeneous, it's going to be diverse, then a meta-analysis is not possible. In this case, you can synthesize the data from this study using narrative or descriptive synthesis. This is where you actually use the narrative or the only description. Like you just only write out in your result that we found in these studies that the odd ratio was something like that, and then in the other study was cohort, it was reported in this way. Then, so meta-analysis. What's meta-analysis? It's a quantitative statistical analysis of several separate but similar experiments or studies in order to test the pooled data for statistical significance. Like say in this example here, there is different studies reporting different odd ratio. Our meta-analysis is to find the final result of this pooled data. It's actually collect all the results together and getting the final result. There is something you will see if you're reading systematic review called heterogeneity. Heterogeneity can be defined as the difference in clinically related characteristic that can give rise to variation in the pool treatment effect estimate. Like say here, in this study, like this here, the finding is not the same as this one, say, for example. It's most likely, you can say, it's most likely due to heterogeneity. Like mainly you go and read this study and you go and read this one, you probably find maybe different population was included. Maybe this one, they were like younger population than this one, or maybe higher socioeconomic status or something like that. So this is what caused the heterogeneity, which is something you have to comment on in reporting the result of each systematic review and meta-analysis. There is something called the statistical heterogeneity, which is in the heterogeneity in general, sorry, it was you can find it looking to the demographic documentation of each study, like say the age difference, the race difference, the population itself, the socioeconomic status. While the statistical heterogeneity is the difference in the estimate. It's the variation in the estimated effect between studies. There is a test actually testing statistical heterogeneity where it's wherever you use the Revman software, you actually, there will be like a result after you add all your studies, like here, for example, okay, all the studies reporting the relative risk, there were like heterogeneity. And this heterogeneity is measured by something called I2, okay? And if it is more than 50, it's high, okay? For this study, like say, for example, there is a statistical heterogeneity, which is 72. Again, most of the systematic review commenting on that. There is something called Pos-Hoc Analysis. It involves looking at the data after a study has been concluded and trying to find the pattern that were not primary objective of the study. Like say the primary question was vitamin D decrease in risk of falls. So you can go and study, like actually you find out that all your study reported fracture rate. So you go and say, assess that and do statistical analysis for that. This is called post-hoc analysis. Okay, so you do it after you finish your primary analysis. It's an additional analysis. Okay, I finished my presentation. If anyone has question, go ahead. It's not an easy process. I've tried to summarize, like each slide I have done, there is a lot of details. If you go and search, I've tried to make it as short as possible. Conducting systematic review, it's a complex process, but with the COVID and the difficulty of kind of collecting direct data, I think it's a wise idea to try to conduct like a narrative systematic review or meta-analysis, but it needs hard work to conduct one. But I think it's an important knowledge to know about conducting this type of research. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for the informative presentation. Indeed, it is a broad topic, and I think you did a great job summarizing it, at least in this presentation. Yeah, anyone, if you have any questions for Sarah? I think we already have a question in the chat box earlier. Let me check. There was a question by Iman Ali. She's saying, in the final manuscript, would you report bias on each of the 8 to 12 papers chosen?
Yeah.
Iman, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, like the way I've shown you I will just go again for the presentation. Maybe share the screen. So this table here, it's one of the tables that need to be included in your study or in the supplemental tables, that you have to have like your full assessment of each study. And it need to be done by 2 reviewers. And like if there is a conflict, say one reviewer say that it's a high risk and the other say it's a low risk, we need to discuss why each one said this, and they have to go to a consensus which one they will choose. So it's one of the important part. You cannot conduct a systematic review without doing that unless you're conducting a narrative review, and that's something else.
Thanks, Sarah, for answering, but can I just follow it up with one more question?
Yeah,
so,
of course.
So I guess what my question is, in terms of presenting it in the discussion of the final manuscript, how do you, so like you said, this table will go under the supplemental files, which is fine, or the appendix, but in the body of the discussion of the manuscript or the results, how would you report bias on each of them and still make it look attractive and not repetitive?
It depends. There is like a language tricks, but if you're talking about the general idea, I would say reporting the results, like say you're saying that 3 studies confirm that vitamin D decrease the risk of falls. You have to give me an idea what was the quality of those studies, like say, and they were all like the strengths of it, like the evidence of supporting this was very strong, like this way, or like saying that like those studies were of low risk of bias. So this will give me an idea that if there is another 3 studies saying that there is no relation between vitamin D and false, and they have like weak evidence, or like stasis studies where high risk of bias, then it will give the reader, or like it will, you finally conclude that actually vitamin D decrease the risk of falls, because the strength of evidence supporting that it prevent fall was like strong, for example.
Okay, understood. So I'm gonna give like a brief summary of the bias instead of going, because in my head, and why I'm laughing is because in my head I imagine going like, and the paper by Fulan et al. Showed detection bias, and this one showed selection bias, and this one.
No. You mention it in the results. Like, okay, you have to state the number of the studies. Like most of the studies were having high, like selection bias, high risk of selection bias. Like you have to try to summarize the risk of bias itself in the result area. But in the discussion where you are mentioning you're discussing the finding, you have to kind of relate to the strength of the evidence.
Understood. Thank you so much, Sarah. That was amazing.
Good question.
Yeah.
Do you have any other questions, maybe, or comments?
Iman,
yeah.
Question. Go ahead, Iman.
If you have any question, I'm happy to receive text in private or in WhatsApp, or if anyone is happy to or planning to conduct a systematic review and they have a specific question, I'm happy to participate. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
I think Dr. Iman has a question or comment.
Oh, no. Malesh, Dr. Nader, I forgot to lower my hand.
Yes, it's okay.
But yeah, I had 2 questions and Sarah answered them. Thank you.
Yeah, great. So if we don't have any further questions for Sarah, maybe we can move to the second topic of our agenda today. I believe Dr. Sama. Yes, Dr. Sama is going to present how to collect references and list them. Is Dr. Sama with us today?
Hello.
Hello, how are you, Dr. Sama?
I'm fine. How are you? Good. Sorry for being late. Just traveling, heading to Chicago. I arrived right now. So, but I'm going to try to do something for my presentation. So, hello, everyone. I'm going to present today some just a few notes regarding or free information regarding Zotero. and it will be like it is app. So most probably I will let you know how to use the app. But first of all, I need just to give you like an introduction regarding Zotero. Do you hear me, guys? Well, hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Zotero is just, it is like app that use or design to manage reference book articles and so on. So it is just like app, even like WhatsApp or Facebook or something like that, but it is specific for research, for user reference, for using books, and you can publish your publication and share it with other people. So what kind of items that we can share? So you can share everything from film, letters, manuscript, sound recordings, bills, everything you can put it in your app. So it will be, you can use the app from anywhere. So you can use it from your laptop, from your phone, and you can log in from other laptop or computer to do your stuff from there. So it is like Google Drive, so you can open it from anywhere. What can I do with these items? Items appear in the Zotero Center pane. It is like on the right pane, it can give you title, creator, publisher, date, page number, and everything you need or any data you need to use in the app. So you will find on the right pane everything you need, and you can write on it, and then it will be saved on the app. So for the collection, I will going to apply it on the app, and also tag and how to search, how to save your search, and how to put your attachment, how to write a note, or like attach a file like PDF or link. So I'm going to open my account on Zotero app, and I will let you know how it works. So here, I have echo. So just one second, Mahmoud. I have echo here. You can open from your phone. So if I go to, just one second, technical problem, just one second. So if I go here to this bar, so you will find new collection. So you can enter the name of your collection. So if you need to write like journals, so you can put journals, you can say 12, and when you click OK, so it will appear here. So you will have a collection of folder called journals. I create here some collection like books, MSU, folder with my name, research, my publication, and publication items and unfilled items. Or this is you will find this in the app, but you can add any folder you need to add or any collection in your library. So you can find everything here in this section. So when you need to add a group, so you can search here for new group, and you can find it here for new group. You can choose the name of the group if you know the name of the group, and you can search for it. Or if you need to create a group, you can go here and create your own groups. So here I did like 2 groups I created here. One of them on my name, Osama Ahmed, and the other called Zain, for example. So you can create your group. You can put anything you need to share with anyone. So like PDF folder, or if you need to add your publication or any papers that you need to share with anyone, you can put it here in your group, and then anyone can reach your publication or your attachment or your any stuff you put. He can read it from the group. Just he can search for your name on the group and he can find that. So this is for the group. If you need to create a group or if you need to feed the group with anything, you can search for it. So here in this icon, you can find attachment, book, document, email. You can select anything you need, and then it will be, you can select anything from here and it can appear here on the collection bar. So if you need to put like attachment, you can select attachment and it will be here on the collection bar. This sign is for if you need to search for any topics from say from Pubmed or from anywhere, or if you need if you have the ID or the ISBN number for that articles, so you can enter the number here, and or you can enter the letters or numbers as you find it. So and then you can hit enter and it will give you the articles and you can save it on your folder. So you can save it in your box or in your journal or any folder you have. So for this one, if you have any article, you can get it from there. Or if you go to, there is another easy way. If you go to Google and then you can write anything you need, like epilepsy, for example. And if you find any articles on epilepsy like this one, you can open it. And if you go here, you will find on the here in this bar, you will find Zotero connector. So you can go here and then you can save it to Zotero. So it will be on journal. So you can hit enter, then you will find it over there. If you go to Zotero, you will find it here on the journal. You find the topic epilepsy and you can open it from here. This is how you can search for articles, or if you need to add any articles or something like that. For Pubmed, if you go to Pubmed and if you open like any articles on Pubmed, if you search for epilepsy, you can find topics here. If you go here, you will find BMID number. If you get this number, copy this number and go to Zotero and search for it here, then paste it and hit enter. You will get the topic here. So you will get the topic here and it will be saved on Zotero. This if you need like topic from Pubmed or from any other journal. And you can use this for Pubmed or for other here you can find many numbers like this one, or you can find the PDF. You can save the PDF as attachment, or here there is a DOI number, so you can copy this number also and put it over here. Then you can search for these articles. And when you get the articles, it will be saved automatically on your collection. This is for any article from any journals or from any website. There is two ways. You can get the number immediately, the ISBN or the DOI, and put it here, hit enter, and then you can get the topics. Or if you need to go to the Google search, and then you can find this sign here as extension in the Google search. This extension, you will find Zotero connector. So if you hit on it, so automatically it will be over there. So here, if you need to add like any note, you can just hit here and you can write your note here over there, and it will be saved automatically in your collection. If you write any note here, it will be over there. If you need to get like attachment for like if you need to add any attachment like PDF copy, so you can hit here and you can find your folders. Just assign your folder and then hit open, and you will get it here in your collection. So you can then, after that, you can arrange your collection like books or attachment or any notes, and you can put it here on your collection like books, journals, MSU folder, Usama folder, research folder, anything you have. If you have publication, you can put it here, and you can put all your topics over here, and you can open it from the Zotero website. And if you log in at any computer or any laptop, you can, or any iPhone or any cell phone, you can reach your stuff over there, and you will find everything is there. If you need to search after you have like library, if you need to search for your collection, so here is a search bar. This is your library, and here is the title, content, and you can write what you need. Just if you need a topic like myocarditis, you can write myocarditis infection, and then you can search for it, and you will get your topic from the library. If you need to search in your library, because after you have a good amount of collection, at that time you need to search for it by its name or by the title or by container or by the author or everything. So you can select what type of search do you need, and then you can search for it. If you here in this bar, you can find everything regarding the topics like this myocarditis and pericarditis. If you hit on it, you will find here the author, the volume, pages, articles, and titles, everything, when it's published, when it is added, everything you will find it here. And if you need to use this as a reference, so you can get it from here. Regarding for reference, you can use your Office Microsoft for reference. So, for example, if we open this folder, if I get a new one. So here in Microsoft Office, you will find something called Zotero. If you hit on Zotero, and if you need to write something, then you have to go to Insert. Here on Insert, you will find Add or Edit Citation or Add, Edit bibliography. So if you need to add citation, then this is one Vancouver. This is commonly used Vancouver for citation. Then you go here and select the classic type, and then you can sign from here, just like this topic, myocarditis, and then you hit OK. So here you will find the citation is numbered and everything. So if you need another like another topic, you write it. Then you go to Zotero, add citation. You have to select classic, and then you go to like this topic. Then you have to hit, and you will get it. So after that, if you need to know how it's going, how it is coming, okay. So if you hit here, you will find the reference here, appear here for number one. This is for number one, and this for number two. So this is the reference for citation number two here, and this is the reference for citation number one. So I make it both of them two, one, but this is one and this is two. And this is a reference for citation one, and this is the reference for citation two. So you can use the Office to add your reference. So this is in brief how Zotero works. And if you have any question, go ahead and ask me.
Thank you so much, Dr. Isama, for the presentation on using Zotero. Indeed, very informative. Please, anyone, if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand, trust in the chat, or even go ahead and unmute yourself and speak. Yes, Sarah, Ahmed, feel free to speak. Sorry, Sarah, you're on mute.
Sorry. Thank you, Sama, for the informative presentation. I used EndNote before, but I don't know if I say, for example, I enter the study itself and I say download citation, for example, and download it like to Zotero. Can I do that? And then my other question, it's completely free, is it, the Zotero?
Yeah, it is completely free. Yeah. But for your other question, do you mean the citation? How do you do citation or reference, or what is your question
like
exactly?
Say if you go and read the study itself, like with EndNote, you download the citation. Say for systematic review search, after you find the search, you can save all you can, like, there is with EndNote, you can save all the studies you found. Like say you found 300. So with a click, you can save all the studies your search, like, so you can download all the studies. So can I do that with Zotero?
Yeah, you can do it. Just you have to select all when you go to the topics. Like here, you have this list, so you can select all of them, and after that, like this is like 4 topics. You can select any topics, and then you have to go here for Zotero, and then you can add it to Zotero. So you can do that.
Thank you.
Welcome. You see it here? This is your select.
Yes, thank you for the elaboration, Dr. Ismail. Anyone else has a question or comment about the topic? Okay. Dr. Nader, do you have any feedback regarding the presentations or a general topic that you would like us to discuss? Well, for me, if you agree with me, I wanted to discuss some points regarding the residency application, specifically in ERAS. I think we also have Sumi with us, if I'm not mistaken, yeah. And many of you who may be more experienced in ERAS. The first thing I noticed that some applications people put bullet points. I couldn't be able to do so. I just used dash, which is the minus sign to list duties and responsibilities in every work experience. Do any of you know how to do that or have any general tips or comments regarding the work experience in the section in the ERAS application?
During which part? I'm sorry, can you repeat that? Which section exactly?
Yeah, the experience section. Is my voice clear? Maybe my internet is a bit unstable. Anyways, I was discussing the experience section in the ERAS application. I've seen some applications with bullet points. I don't know how to add bullet points into ERAS. I even tried to copy it from Google Docs and so on, but I haven't managed to do so. Haven't been able to do so. So I just used the dash or the minus sign in the keyboard to list my duties and responsibilities in every work experience. So if any of you has experience with that, or just maybe you want to give some tips regarding how to describe the experience, that would be much appreciated.
Can I just?
Yeah, of course. You can
Yeah.
interrupt at any time.
Sorry if I interrupt someone. I was looking to the previous ERAS we have in the Glide app. Mulham, the one who had the presentation last time, I was looking to his ERAS. He actually did the same as what you did. He just did the minus sign as for the bullet point. So it looks like this is the only way.
Yeah, it seems like it, but I've seen Marwa's ERAS application and she put bullet points. I even asked her, but she couldn't remember how she did
copy
that.
them, paste maybe. You can write it in a Word document and maybe then try to copy and paste it.
Yeah, I actually tried that, but it didn't work. Lubaba, feel free to jump in.
Khalid, I personally have done the bullet points, but I usually just copy off a Google document instead of an offline Word. I write what I want to write on an online Google Doc and I copy paste it on ERAS and it works.
Okay, that's great. Maybe I should try that again. Maybe I did something wrong. Yeah. Great tip. Lubaba, are you there? Azza?
Sorry, I was.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Lubaba. Okay, sorry.
Go ahead, Lubaba.
Yeah, good afternoon,
Yes,
everyone. Thank you for the great presentations. It's really very useful and valuable. Thank you so much. Yeah, I agree with what whoever spoke before me, doing it on Google document is helping with adding bullet points. The other thing that you can, if you are using Mac, you can use Alt and number 8 that will give you like the dot kind of bullet points if you want to use the dot specifically. But other things I'm not available. I'm not aware of things other than copy pasted from different places. Some people with Word document, I think, work with them. I don't know what the trick, but Google document is a good source too. Good luck, everyone.
Yes, thank you, Lubaba. I think we'll try that again. Regarding this topic, so I don't just speak about, so I don't just speak about my own concerns. If any of you want to jump in and ask a question about the entire application, please feel free to do so. Yes, Iman, go ahead.
I also have a general question about the ARES application. So when describing your experience, so let's say I was I don't know, whatever, any position before, how much detail do I want to go into when describing the experience? So you know how there's like a paragraph where you can describe it, your roles and what you did in that role. How much details do I want to go into?
Yes, thank you for the question. I can give my own opinion. I did watch a couple of videos and webinar on filling the ARES application. I also Googled and I've seen much, and I've seen different websites on providing tips about the application. I think what the best thing to do is to be as concise as possible and to the point as possible. Not to over elaborate or not. The description should be brief and to the point. That's what I arrived into. But if anyone else has a different opinion or another tip, feel free to unmute yourself and speak.
I think we have limited characters. We can't go beyond them, so you can't go into much details about that. Yeah, be concise and thank you.
Yeah, exactly. I also think so. And Dr. Hamad Tijani, I'm sorry I didn't see your raised hand. Please feel free to speak.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Yeah, it's just this is a personal opinion, but I believe it is your chance to shine. You know, if it's a kind of job or kind of previous experience you feel like will add something or make whoever reviewing your application stop and think maybe this person have a skill that put him on top of everybody else. Definitely try to explain it a little bit if it is relevant, definitely. But again, this is my personal opinion. You can take it or not. Thank you, everybody, for the opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Mohammed. No, I totally agree with you. I believe the experience is different. I mean, some people work at interesting jobs other than the clinical ones, so you might need to elaborate on what you did and what was the job about, so we understand what exactly you did. But maybe some jobs like your clinical internship in Sudan, if you had a job as a clinician in Sudan and so on. I think all IMGs will just try it the same. They will list 5 or 6 bullet points about how they manage patients in the emergency room, conduct follow-up and rounds and so on. It's repetitive, so maybe no need for that. But I definitely agree with you regarding elaborating the strengths and the interesting jobs that you've had. Yeah, thank you so much for that. Sarah, is this raised hand from before or?
Yeah, no, I have a quick question about the letters of recommendation. If anyone had the experience of his letter being uploaded, I've sent a request to Dr. Nader, and he was saying that I have filled the area that I wanted, like 2 specialty, and he was saying that I have to choose the program. So do I need first to have all my programs that I am applying to saved, and then the letter of recommendation can be uploaded, or what? I couldn't actually get how it works.
Okay, Dr. Nader, yes, sorry for the interruption.
So Sarah, basically, when you request a letter for certain specialty, let's say internal medicine, I will write about.
Can anyone hear Dr. Nader?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we do.
Yes. I hear him. But it's a little bit, if you can raise your voice, sorry, Dr. Nader.
So basically, if you put in the specialty internal medicine, that's what you need. Put it. If you need something else, create another request. Let's say neurology. Create another request, put that neurology. If you want pediatric, put a third request and put pediatric.
Okay. So through this request, do I need to do another like internal medicine request and neurology request, or I need to do another one?
Yes. So make separate for each specialty.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah and Dr. Nader. Maybe Dr. Nader, you can also provide us with your expert opinion on writing ERAS, whether we should be as concise as possible or whether to elaborate a bit more.
I think you can elaborate as much as you can. You want to give a clear picture about or detailed picture about what you are doing, what you did, so that they can understand and you shine, basically. Thanks.
Yes, of course. Thank you. Dr. Mohammed, please go ahead.
Yes, just a question. If for any reason the letter of recommendation is not ready by the time you wanted to submit your application, how possibly you can reassign a letter of recommendation that you got a little bit later after you submit your application, or you just have to wait until you get all your letters of recommendation ready before you submit your application to a certain program? So I really appreciate it if can somebody touch the basic on this part of the ERAS. Thank you.
Anyone, please feel free to jump in if you have an answer for Dr. Mohammed regarding the upload of the letters of recommendation at the time.
Hello, this is Lubaba. Do you hear me, guys?
Yes.
Hello. Okay.
Yes,
I just want to add a little bit to the piece of the experience. As Dr. Nader mentioned and Dr. Tijani, that it's the chance to elaborate. Maybe if the character limit is not allowing you, just put the strong points about that experience. The most important thing about the experience that you need to include is what you gained from this experience, what you learned from it. So you want to do your role. I was like, for example, physician trainee or intern or house officer doing so and so and so, but what I gained from this is this and this and this. So each experience, make sure that you had to add this piece, what you learned from the experience. As far as the letter of recommendation assigning, I think it is not advisable to submit your application if it is not complete, because you will be your application will be prone to be withdrawn or not looked at. It is make sure that your application is complete and the supporting documents, you have 3 letters of recommendation when you submit. This is my personal opinion, because this is what I heard before, but maybe other people have another idea of how. But you have the way to assign letter after it is uploaded, even if you submitted your application, but it's not advisable to submit your application if it is incomplete. Thank you.
Meaning that, Lubaba, you can submit your application. Let's say for IMGs, most programs review the application, start reviewing their application by the end of this month. Let's say I've got a letter of recommendation close to the end of the month. Can I still reassign that particular letter of recommendation for that particular program or not, after I already send them or submit my application for the program?
Yes, you can. You can. Yeah, but I think when it's going to be available, Is that the issue? You don't want your application to be available for the program with missing document. This is what I meant.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Yes, Sumi, please feel free to unmute.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I completely agree with Lubaba. And I think without any documents such as personal assessment or LOR, uploading without any of this, uploading your application will be considered as a incomplete application, and it will not advisable. And I think most of the programs, they will not even reviewing because they have enough applications with the whole documents, and that's all complete application. So I think no one should take that risk unless you are probably working on that program, or somehow you are working some other way for that program. Probably that might be an exceptional case, but other than in general, without any documents, that's why they gave us that much of time. We should not upload that. That will be considered as incomplete, and it will be less competitive than others. That's all I want to include. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Sumi. If anyone else has any concerns or questions or even tips regarding the all ERAS application, and the residence application is quite overwhelming with many parts. The application is really long, and we also have the supplemental application this year for internal medicine, or dermatology, and another specialty. So please, yeah, Abuzer, go ahead.
Yes, hello everyone. So what I have heard is something different than Lubaba and Sumi mentioned, that you have to apply on time. It is better for you to apply on time, even if you have missing documents like one letter of recommendation or something like that. So apply on time and update programs after that by your new documents or something like that. And I don't know, it is not a question, but how to balance between applying on time with missing documents or applying after deadline with complete documents. So if someone has something to say, please advise us about that.
Yes, thank you so much, Abuzer. I also share your opinion, but I've watched, it might be a bit outdated, but I've watched the Residency Director series. It was provided by Kaplan 2013 or 14, I think. Maybe things changed, but they all agreed on one thing, that most programs do not really view the applications on the opening day. This year being the 29th of September, most of the programs view the applications starting mid-October, and some programs even start viewing applications in early November. So they stressed that try to have your application as perfect as possible, but without so you shouldn't just submit a bad application early, but it's better to submit a good application later. If you got my point, maybe, but maybe things changed. I'm not really sure about that. Abir Sheikh, do you have any addition on that topic?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Osama. I have a question for Dr. Nader regarding the letter of recommendation. I think I misunderstood you the last time, and I bought in a specialty, I bought family medicine, internal medicine, and now one of the letter uploaded, but I don't know which one, if it is for family medicine or internal medicine. So how I can know that, and how to proceed to create another request, or what I have to do?
So you have two options. Option one is to request another one. Yes. Option two is if I'm not sure if you can assign the same letter to more than one specialty. What I did for you, I think. what I did is I put it in general. You are interested in seeing older patients with complicated conditions like chronic conditions. So it will fit for internal medicine as well as family medicine. But I think if you can use the same letter to internal medicine and then use it again to family medicine, that will be okay. If you cannot, if you have to assign one letter per program, then maybe you can make another request for, let's say, family medicine, for instance.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Yes, thank you, Pierre and Dr. Nader for the elaboration. Lina, you can go ahead.
Hello, everyone. I just want to say something about Abir's question. The assigning while requesting the letter of recommendation letters, whether you write internal medicine, family medicine, does not appear to the programs. It only appears to you and to Dr. Nader. So if you wrote internal medicine or family medicine or geriatric, it doesn't matter. The only problem is when the author of the letter of recommendation writes a specific specialty within the letter of recommendation itself. So if he wrote a general letter of recommendation eliciting your abilities and what you have achieved, it can go for both the specialties. When you request a letter, you see a description that the assigned specialty only appears to you and to the author of the recommendation letter. I hope this can help you and the other who were questioning the LORs. Thank you.
Thank you, Lina.
Yes, thank you, Lina. I think what you said is true, because when you write down the specialty, it's not a drop-down list that you choose from. You just type it and you click enter. You might even misspell this specialty, so it makes sense.
One other thing is that you can assign one letter of recommendation for multiple specialties. You can use the same letter if it's written in a general form for internal medicine and family medicine, both of them.
Yes. We have a question about the supplemental, the ERAS supplemental application. It's a new thing this residency season. I really haven't researched it thoroughly, but if anyone has information about that, maybe jump in and share it with us. I think it has multiple questions, one of which is it asks you to identify the most valuable experiences that you had. It allows you up to 5 experiences. Not really sure about the rest of the questions. Or maybe if anyone has any concern or would like to provide a tip or comment about the whole application, feel free to raise your hand or jump in. I actually have a question about the residency photo that you upload into Oasis, and then I think it appears on ERAS, if I'm not mistaken. In Oasis, in the instructions, it says that we should keep a neutral face, but on reality, I see that most applicants smile on these pictures. So I don't know. Do you have an opinion about that? Yes, I was actually, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, always show your smile.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. I think this is the most common opinion regarding this, but it's just stated in the website. That's why I asked. Maybe they mean for the ESFMG licensing or the first steps that we did when we took the USMLE for that purposes. Yeah. Sumi, if you are here, I wanted to ask you, and also Lubaba, the previous fellows who worked on the abstracts that were submitted to American Geriatric Society. I'm interested to know how you listed the the abstracts that we did. Did you put it as poster presentation, or did you put it as published or peer-reviewed or published non-peer-reviewed? Yes, Sumi.
Yeah, sorry. I think I uploaded this as the peer reviewed because it was published already, the one in JAMDA and the American Geriatric Association. Those are already peer reviewed and published, and I presented also, right, the AGS. I think Lubaba presented on JAMDA and I presented on AGS, so it makes sense that it's peer reviewed, published abstract. That's how I submitted.
So it's considered peer-reviewed because there is also an option that is an abstract that is published but non-peer-reviewed. So I just had doubts about it.
I think it is published and peer-reviewed as it is, but some of them are non-peer-reviewed, but I think JAMDA and AGS is peer-reviewed publications.
Okay, thank you so much for that.
Let's say somewhere you like, you know, some local things like let's say like in Detroit or some places, like they have wherever you submit your abstract, those are not peer-reviewed abstract. Just you present and presented the abstract and it's not peer-reviewed, that's are considered non-peer-reviewed. But I mean, most likely AGS and JAMDA, those are definitely peer-reviewed abstract. That's what my understanding. But yeah, probably Lubaba can explain or Dr. Nadir can explain more if I'm wrong. Thank you.
I'll jump for Nadir his remarks. Sorry, Dr. Nadir. I haven't filled that part in my application yet. I'm still late, but my question is, yeah, I agree with you. They are peer-reviewed because when I submitted the abstract the first time, I received feedback from them, and then they asked for specific things to be added so that reflect it's peer-reviewed. The other thing is, you mentioned that you put it in the publication. Does that mean we're not allowed to put it as a poster presentation? Because I feel like presentation in annual conference has its way too. I haven't reached that point yet. I'm not sure what is available in the ERAS now. Dr. Nadir can add. Thank you.
Can put them in both places. So as much as you can use your whatever experience, put it down in your application. If you have two spots to use the same, one for abstract and one for peer review, something published, then you can put it in the two places.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Nadir and Lubaba. There's a question about the time frame or the date or the deadline, I think, for the application. Well, there isn't an exact deadline. Of course, you can apply at any time, but we consider it to be before the 29th of September. But there's a note that says that you should submit the supplemented application before the 20th of September, which is in 16 days. So that the supplemented application gets into your application at time, which is the 29th of September. I mean that residency programs can view your application starting the 29th of this month. To make sure that they do, you should apply before the 20th. But I think you can apply until the 28th of September, but your supplemental application might be shown on the 5th of October. So if you applied from the 20th to the 29th of September, the supplemental application will be a bit delayed, but your application will be on time. So just to keep it simple, we can say that the deadline is the 28th of September. There's also another thing that other people who applied before pointed out. In the last few days before the 29th of September, the server is going to be very busy. So to be safe, if you are ready, you can apply before that date. If anyone else has anything that you want to discuss, not regarding just the ERAS or the residency application, also the ongoing projects, feel free to raise your hand.
I want to just want to include one more thing. Yeah, I totally agree with Dr. Nali. The previous one, as Lubaba asked, as that abstract, we initially submitted as an abstract and then we presented as a poster. So actually we can include both of the places, because either way it is true, right? Like we submitted as an abstract and we presented as a poster. So if we include both ways, I think that should be okay. Thanks.
Yes, thank you so much for the clarification, Sumi. I have a question, if you don't mind. Yeah, Rababa, please go ahead.
No, I'm just confirming Sumi's feedback.
Yeah,
Okay.
great. So I think we agree on that we can add it both as a published article, journal article, and also the poster presentation, since it was published after it was presented. My question is regarding the personal statement. I've been thinking, if I make the personal statement too personal, or if I try to make the personal statement stand out so much, it might seem a bit odd or eccentric. So I risk being odd for the program director or whomever is going to read the statement. On the other hand, if I read a generic statement just to be safe, it's not going to stand out, and I'm not really sure regarding that. Do you have any opinions that you want to share?
Yeah, I think from previous year, what my experience is, personal statement should not be too much like, professional experiences. It should be like your hobby, what are the things you would like to like do, and like if you have any travel things you would like to do, something like that. And also you can connect a little bit with your like with your professional experiences or any kind of achievement that's but it should not be too professional, because the program directors also want to know your personality and your because they're going to work with you for next 3 years. So you already passed all the exams and you have proven that like you are qualified academically, but they also want to know your personal things, what you would like to do and all other things. So it should not be too professional, it should not be too personal, like all like a balance. And also, I mean, some of the things, let's say like, yeah, you have a desire to like help people, or from your childhood or something, and what inspire you to come to medicine, that kind of introduction probably you can provide, or there is some history, that's why you are in medicine today, something like that. But other than that, mostly it should be your personal things, like even your families, and I mean, not like too much with the family, like your contribution to the community, or your like other things, like personal things, something like that. Do you have any other specific areas that I can emphasize, or just like, and I think it's a personal statement, I'm not sure, like if we apply for internal medicine, family medicine, and let's say someone is applying also for neurology, so it's better to connect with those things, such as like from the beginning, like why you want to do neurology, from the beginning why you want to do internal medicine, or as a primary care physician you want to pursue, something like that. It should connect.
What I suggest, I agree with you, Sumi, thanks for sharing. What I suggest is, if the previous fellows, Sumi, Lubaba, and the rest, if you can share some of your personal statement with your WhatsApp group, that's an option. And the other option, Khalid, if you did not do, we have the previous fellows who match the personal statement. They shared that in the app. So if you can look that up, review some of this, it will give you a good idea. Thank you.
Yes, it will be very helpful. Thank you so much, Dr. Nader, for creating the hub. And thank you so much for your opinions regarding the personal statement. Anyone, if you have any questions regarding the residency application of this fellowship and the projects, the ongoing projects, feel free to raise your hand. Pubmed Ibrahim pointed out that he can't hear Dr. Nader. What he said that is in the Telegeriatric app, the successful candidates who applied last year to the residency and got accepted, they uploaded their personal statements there, so you can view it there. Okay, Dr. Nader, do you have anything that you'd like us to discuss for today or maybe in the next session?
Thank you,
Yeah.
Khalid. I want to follow up on the application, on the projects, the current projects, and also maybe it will help some of you who apply this year. So if you look at the app, I added a couple of things. One of them, when you go to the main page, there is a link for a document. And also I emailed every one of you to share that link for that document. So it has hopefully an up to date list of all the projects. Maybe I missed some. I want every project leader, if you can edit the document, see what exactly your project about, make sure the title is correct and the members of the team and what the status of that project. And hopefully this will help all of you put all this information in your application, and it will help me also when I get my report on quarterly report that I'm required to update the faculty here and the department. So if every one of you look at that document, put your names in the right places, and you can use it as a reference for you to get the updated information in your application. The second part or the other point, I think some of you might be interested in joining other projects if you have time to do so. So you can look that document again and see if you want to join some of the teams. My suggestion is every team or every project, I think total members supposed to be about 10. That's because when we apply or when we submit the publication for, let's say, poster or manuscript, sometimes they have limitation of the authors. So we don't want to exceed as much. So if you want, you are interested in some of the project, contact the project leader and see if you can join the team there. We have extra projects, new projects coming. So I will update you with this as soon as I get more information. So if someone is still interested in doing more projects, let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nader. So as I said, yes, the email is received. So anyone, you can check your email and start filling the document. Do anyone have a question or addition that you would like to make? If not, maybe we should discuss the next meeting's agenda, which is in the app. We just need to know the presenters and who's going to be a moderator. Yes,
one more thing I want to add is that
yes.
next week, I think they will start the MSU Sparrow grant rounds that's provided by Internal Medicine Department. So if someone is interested, usually they do it on Tuesday at noon, from noon to 1 p.m. Eastern time. So I think the information also on the app, if you scroll down on the main page, at the end of the page, there is a calendar where you can locate the topics and the dates, and hopefully you have the link to, it's gonna be virtual, so you can join just similar to the Zoom meeting. Thank you.
Yes, of course. Afra, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Dr. Nader, you assigned us, me and Dr. Khalaf, lately the project pain assessment and management in nursing home during COVID-19. We did all the tasks that you said, and also we discussed the articles that you sent us, but we couldn't understand. So can you tell us more about this project? What should we do? Is it a questionnaire or what?
So we can write about comparing the literature review when we look at the pain management during and before COVID, if there is any changes. One thing we can do is we can collect some data to support our findings. It's similar to the data we collected last year. So maybe Lubaba or one of the previous fellow, you can help this team. So basically we will get information from the nursing homes, perhaps the same data that we had from last year. And this time we will look at only the pain medication and pain management. I think they have some variables there. So if we look at the data from 2019 compared to 2020, maybe we can find something. If we don't, then we will just mention that this is the method that we did and we found no difference, or if we find any difference, then we can mention that as well. I think that might be a good poster for AMDA. And if people are interested, maybe we can put it as a manuscript also for publication. So we'll start with just thinking about making it as a poster, as abstract, and that we will submit to AMDA. And speaking about AMDA, also in the app main page, there is an abstract call for abstract. So for AMDA, if you want to get more information, you can click on the button or the link, and it will give you more information about next meeting and what they focus on this time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Nader.
Yes, yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So I'm happy to share with you the CASPER report that we worked with last year for the variables that Dr. Nader was talking about. I think, yeah, it includes the pain or pain medication, either of those. So I'm happy to help you with that. Thanks.
Great. So anyone else has any questions about their projects? Okay, I'll share my screen to show you the next week's agenda.
So anyone wants to lead the meeting?
The moderator. Afrah, is the raised hand from before or is it new?
Sorry, it is before.
Anyone else? Anyone interested in moderating the next session?
I can do that, Dr. Khalid, because I'm already the leader of the red team. Okay.
Okay, great. Hadil Awad, so I'll put your name here. The red team should present. The first topic is how to write a manuscript, the conclusion, and the discussion sections. So I think we need volunteers from the red team to present this topic. Anyone interested in presenting the conclusion and discussion sections of the manuscript? Of writing a manuscript.
Okay. So we have the agenda part 1, right? The 2 topics. And even the interview skills and tips, right?
Yes, we have. So Dr. Nader, I see that you've put brackets and do you mean that we need 2 volunteers for the topic and the interview skills and tips should be a general discussion or should it be also a presentation by someone?
We will discuss this with the among the red team members, and I will update the website by this, if you allow me. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Hadil. You can do that. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you. So I think that's about it for today. Thank you all for attending, and I'll see you all next week. Sorry, Dr. Nader, if you have any remarks or anything that you want to add before we.
Thank you so much, Khalid, and the rest of the presenters and the fellows. And I really appreciate your effort and your hard work. And I want to also share that some of you submitted like 3 abstracts, and all of them were accepted. So this is a good news. So we are getting somewhere with our work. So keep doing what you are doing. Great job, everyone. If you have questions, let me know. And please update the document so that we can be on the same page. Every one of us knows what other people are doing. And if you want to contribute more, if you have time, please share with the rest. Thanks. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Bye.
Bye.